Hello everybody, welcome back. As the new year fast approaches, I wanted to make sure I had enough time to set up my 2025 bullet journal, so that is what we are doing today. I will be using these Ohuhu Paper-Friendly Markers, which were kindly gifted to me by Ohuhu. You can watch the full unboxing and comparison video right up here. And without further ado, let's get started. The supplies that I'm using for the setup are these washi tapes, a clear ruler, a pencil, some scissors, and then the Ohuhu markers in the shades 27, 26, 61, 71, 72, and 49. Does someone have bingo? And finally, also the Tombow Fudenosuke. Okay, so I'm starting off by setting up a washi tape border. I'm gonna insert the inspo that I'm using for this. I really like their setup that I found on Pinterest, and so I wanted to do something similar, but obviously different. So this first washi that I'm going in with has mathematical theorems on it, or they supposedly do. I just like the look of this. I think it's a very neutral base to start with, and I like the idea of blending like a mathematical theme with a more artistic and colorful theme. So that's why the next washi I went in with was this pastel blue floral washi. I think they're kind of subverting each other while complementing each other. I just really like the way that this turned out visually. The next thing that I did is I went in with the Ohuhu marker in the shade number 61, and I outlined the boxes to turn it into a grid, which was reminiscent of the grid paper that you'd have to use back in math class. That was the inspo here. I also just like having a more textured background. I think it fills up the space without being too distracting. I then went in with the shade 71 and attempted to hand letter 2025, but as soon as I put down the first stroke in the 2, I knew that this was destined to be a flop. I just think my hand lettering was sloppy, and I was hoping to fix it by going in with the lighter blue shade number 26 and doing a drop shadow, but of course that just made it look not good either, and then I tried to outline it. So anyway, the lesson here is that less is more, and the more that you add on things, likely the more it'll just look worse. So go with your gut, keep it simple, and try not to overcomplicate it. I will end up redoing this later, and you'll see that right now. This is how it looked after I redid it, and I'm very glad I did. I think it looks so much more clean and crisp, and I love the little sparkles. Then I went back in with that darker gray shade, and on the left side I wrote out my quote for the year, and the one that I chose is, "How we spend our days is, of course, how we spend our lives." This is a little snippet of a full quote by Annie Dillard, and I had this quote commonplace, and I felt like it needed a spot more significant than a commonplace notebook because I wanted to reference this throughout the year. So this is the quote that I chose. I think it's just such a great reminder that all of the things that you do in a day, all of your good habits or your bad habits, really culminate to be the way that you're spending your life. And whether that's something refreshing to hear or something a little bit alarming, it is a good reminder. You have to be very conscious with the time you spend and where it's going. The next spread that I'm doing are my 2025 efforts, and they're pretty much just my resolutions, but I hesitate to call them resolutions because it shows that something in my life needs to be resolved or to come to a resolution. But as you know, we are always growing, and I would much rather say that these are the things that I'm making an effort to do, and I don't have to complete them. It's just something that I want to work on. So I'm going back in with the darker shade of gray, number 71, and I'm just hand lettering that out. Okay, so here are my finished efforts, and I had to go off camera to do them just because I had to actually think about what I was writing, and I wanted to make sure that I didn't just, mess it up. So this is this, and let's move on. The final spread is going to be a Dutch door type of spread. So on the left side, I'm gonna have my morning routine. On the right side, I'm gonna have my nighttime routine. And then in the middle, kind of sandwiched in there, is going to be a health menu. And the thought process process behind this is turning my healthy habits into a point system, and I just think it'll motivate me more. So here's how I did that. First, using the brown Ohuhu marker number 49, I just hand lettered out morning routine on the left. And then I took 2 pages in my bullet journal and I cut out sections. So I made sure to have something behind the page as I was cutting them out. And then I just used an X-Acto knife to trace over a smaller section of the page. I then went in with some washi tape, as you can see there, and I just reinforced the spine. Then I hand lettered nightly routine along the right, and then I went on to making my menu. Once again, I'm gonna do the writing off camera just so everything is clear and concise, and I will be right back to show you. Okay, so here's what we have. I've set up a morning routine and then like a nighttime routine plus my little menu here. Now, if you are on TikTok or Instagram, you might have seen these like dopamine menus. It's pretty much the same type of concept. So I've set up a morning routine to include 2 appetizers, 3 mains, and 2 creatives. So the appetizers give me 1 point, so I can like pick and choose which ones I'm feeling that day. And I've already set up my morning and nighttime routine to include a couple appetizers and mains and extras. Hopefully I like get points that way, but so anyway, I have 2 appetizers. So let's say I want to pick for that day that I would do some seed cycling and I also would like drink a tea. Boom, that's already, I get a point. Something like that. Then my 3 mains are the more vital things I want to include, and everything that I have here relates back to my efforts and goals. So by incorporating these things, I'm hoping to create like habits that will help me achieve these efforts or goals. My mains are the bigger things like water, walking, any type of exercise, incorporating the gratitude affirmations, and those homemade meals. So these are both health related, and then if you flip the page, the mini menu, you have the desserts here, and the desserts are the creatives. So again, I had some goals for myself to like learn piano, Swedish, so those I'm all incorporating in the creative. So I have piano, any type of learning, so whether that's Swedish, driving, or the Coursera, I will get up 2 points for any of those that I could do that day. The writing, again, that was in my goals. I have journaling as well, reading, singing, producing, and then creating. And then here I have my taxes or things that will deduct points. So again, if you are familiar with Atomic Habits and you've done the like habits to make and habits to break, these are the habits to break. They're just like reminders. Again, I have these things in excess because anything in moderation is not harmful. So of course I'm going to be eating sugar and I'll be going out and eating food, and like I'm going to spend money here and there, but it's the things in excess that will deduct a point. One habit that I'm trying to break is being on my phone right before bed. So again, that would cost me a point. Negative self-talk, and then staying indoors excess. Again, if it's like, you know, crappy weather, I'm gonna be staying indoors likely, but I'm just trying to get into the habit of going for a walk a day. So then if I do stay indoors when there's not a really good reason to, I will lose a point. And then the nighttime routine is, like I said, pretty similar. So here I have read as number 1, and because I also have that as a dessert, I would get 2 points. So it's like I said, a couple of them are integrated already to try and help me in that way. So read, I have my posture exercises, daily reflection, meditation, and then, you know, some oral care, and then have a peaceful night. So obviously this is like the ideal morning and nightly routine. I'm not expecting that, but it is kind of nice to have the ideal and then be able to like pick and choose certain things depending on how I'm feeling that day. But let's say I'm having an awful day, then maybe I just do that and that's enough. So I like having that option. I wanted to do a final little flip through here. I think this theme turned out quite well. I'm very pleased with it, and I think it's one that I will feel comfortable referencing throughout the year. It's pretty simple, not a lot of clutter, and I think the colors are soft on my eyes. Anyway, guys, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and a special thank you to Ohuhu once again. I had so much fun using these markers, and I think it turned out beautifully. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing and giving it a huge thumbs up, and I will see you next time. Stay cozy and bye-bye.